Switching to a positive promo in ring, Will Ospreay again, JP.
Yeah.
I mean, we're past the point now. We made the point. Will Ospreay's a pro. Like, I said that on Twitter. I did not see Will Ospreay's promo promo era coming, and anyone who says they did is a fucking liar. Because I feel like everyone's criticisms of Ospreay's promos in the past shouldn't be forgotten; they were true. But somehow he's coming across as the most likable, and this is Will Ospreay of all people, bloke in the room who's got the crowd with him, who's really happy to be there. Maybe it's that that big pay packet that Big Tone shoved in his pocket. I don't know. He's got a catchphrase that's getting over. It was another home run segment for me for Ospreay. In fact, I probably liked it a little bit more than I did last week. He got the business done too. Put over the Danielson thing, using Shibata as like this measuring stick between the two of them. Thought that was wonderful. I just thought excellent bit of business, and Ospreay is by a country mile for me right now the hottest thing in the company. Madness.
It's the whole package. Yeah, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, the bruv thing is always going to grate with me. But the thing that I liked about this...
sorry. Don't like the socks. Don't like the socks tucked into the trackies, JP. Was that ever a look where you're from? That was a big thing in Liverpool in the early 2000s. I never abided by it. It wasn't for me.
No, not for me at all. I have seen it. I'm not a big fan of it, but then I didn't knock around Essex loads.
You're a Stone Island fan?
I'm not a Stone Island. I was born a River Island man, and I'll die a River Island. I
used to live River Island. I was a big fan. It goes to what Don says here, though, as well.
Place to go.
Oh, nice. But, like, I think, it's one of them. He's doing that thing where he's like, he's Brit abroad who's just leaning into the little stereotypes of the Americans, just rubbing his head and loving it, It's fucking, it works, doesn't it? Like, they don't know what's cool over here. They must think we all walk around with our socks dug into our pants.
Worked for James Corden. And he's another bloke from fucking Essex doing that type of stuff, isn't it? And it's
that one's even more balmy. How the fuck's he a big star? How'd that happen?
I don't know. I don't want to see him doing carpool karaoke. I don't know. Although the crowd love this is it. It's the whole package of him. It's the music, and they're singing along to that. They obviously the promos, and they're responding to it. They're responding to his catchphrase, and then the matches fucking deliver. But I think the beauty of this promo is it felt to me just tighter and more focused. Yeah. Like you say, there was a lot that he got in there, but it wasn't overly long. This wasn't like a mad rambling promo that he was talking through. But he also got the nice digs in there going, I made it in Japan, and you dream of having done that. It's just like, actually, that's a fair point.
It never happened for Danielson. People think it did. Didn't. People think, Danielson was still the great one in Japan. No, he didn't. Like, when he went out there, it was when the American Indies, when, treated with much reverence, and he was a junior. He had some good matches, but he was never really a commodity out there, ever. Like, and he worked at a few different places, obviously, but it's night and day. Ospreay's Japan run versus Bryan's run, so there's truth in that too. It's good. That was the thing. It was like, on the one hand, he was like this cheeky, chappy, smiling bloke, and that's almost what you remember from the promo. But like I say, that substance underneath it too, because he got those little digs in, that little bits of truth. The line about filling, I don't need to fill your shoes; they're too small for me, bruv. Like that was great. Like, where's this coming from? It's the substance to it too. Really good.
There is, and it's how it's being delivered, which is being done with a kind of like a little wink and a nod, but not too overt. He's getting the main storyline beats in there as well, and he's not coming across. He's coming across the baby face, but not like kind of, I love Bryan Danielson. He's my favorite wrestler growing. None of this kind of shit. Like, there was bits, and it was like, no, I'm gonna have a dig back actually, and that's kind of really what you want, and it works, and it just makes me think it's like, really, this needs to be almost like a de facto number one contenders match. Like, to an extent, they need to, you strike while the iron's hot, and obviously Wembley, as we mentioned before, that's the destination. That's where you need to go to. You need to have him and, frankly, the return of Jamie Hayter. I know Ewan brought that up in the comments as well, but they're the kind of two no-brainer things that you want to get setting into place for Wembley.
When Ospreay was rumoured to be coming in, and it became clear, and it, got to be said again, similar conversation. We were on the floor at how over he was at All In, to a gigantic audience, a bigger audience than he's ever wrestled in, or any of us have ever sat amongst. And Ospreay was probably the most over person on the card. That shocked me. And then when he was supposed to be coming in, it was like, oh, and they're probably going to build Wembley around him. Even knowing that, I was still like, I don't know about that, because obviously it's Swerve's time and Tangman's time, and I don't know, it feels a bit like an outsider coming in and, you know, being the guy you build Wembley about. I'm not sure how that's going to fit. Nope, I'm in. Do it. No. That's the one. He's the person with the most momentum in the company right now. He feels the most over in the company right now. You can capitalize on that momentum, like you say. Yeah, big win over Danielson. A couple of weeks ago, I was maybe more leaning towards him doing some kind of trilogy, and Brian goes over first. I suppose you could maybe still do that. Maybe that could fill his time to All In. Yeah. To the moon, mate, right now. Anyone watching these reactions and watching how he's dealing with the reactions and the performances he's putting in, like, I think any buckle worth of salt would be thinking that, yeah, got a big show coming up in London. Check. Will Ospreay main event wins the title. It's got to be the one.
Yeah. Yeah, and he has to be, and you have to be pushing him. You have to get him out, actually, on the chat show circuit as well. Yeah. They need to make a
based on this, he'd probably come across well. I never thought he'd come across well. He's a fucking idiot. Like, why is he charming now? What's going on?
and this is the mad thing as well. Is if you're WWE, you really should be looking at Triple H and going, why did you not make any serious play for it?
Work rate.
His matches are a bit too flip. Get to fuck. Is he really in any position to talk about work rate, guys? Mr. fucking lazy. I'm just going to nick from the worst aspects of Harley Race and Nick Bockwinkel matches. I'm going to bore these fuckers to sleep in a main event, and by God, it will go half a fucking hour. Cheeky cunt. Honestly, like, he's got some fucking nerve to do.
They get over. I've never been more agreement with. Don't agree with everything Meltzer says about Ospreay. You know, he's very unwilling to criticise, but I think we've got a record of criticising Ospreay absolutely where it's warranted. But where I do agree with him is, like, yeah, you know, great wrestlers get over in companies no matter where they are. And we're seeing that with Ospreay to a lesser extent. We're seeing it with Okada. You know, again, I didn't even talk too much about his match before, but, like, you know, again, he came across so fucking well as far as, like, maybe the match wasn't great, but the little things he was doing in there, that shit-eating grin, the overall heel character, the fact that how much he enjoyed the fireworks, you know, right down to, like, say, the Bucks replays and stuff like that. Put a great wrestler in any situation, they're probably going to make it work. And both of these, they tie together, Ospreay and Okada. They're making it work in ways that I didn't expect. But that's because I'm not one of the best wrestlers in the world. I couldn't foresee it. They could. And long may it continue. But while we're talking Ospreay, we're saying that he's got the hype all around him. I think one of my negatives for Dynamite this week, and it's wild how quickly fortunes can turn. Swerve Strickland. Remember when he was the hot product of the company? I'm not saying he's dead. It's like the Mercedes conversation. It was fine. But, like, doesn't it feel like him and Joe are, like, having a feud right now over, like, the United States title or pick your title in AEW, you know, your Continental title, your mid-range belt, you know? Like, it doesn't feel very important right now. And it's been something we've noted, I think, most of these last couple of weeks and kind of gone every time. Yeah, but, you know, Ospreay's fresh, Okada's fresh, Mercedes is fresh. Another week of it, though, like, where it does feel, not mid-card, that would be too strong, but very upper mid-card. And I love Swerve, I love Joe. But I don't know, was this the risk of, you know, as much as we applauded Joe being the great interim champion and being the perfect guy to have it with the belt for, you know, to connect the tissue of whoever you were going to put it on next, have they maybe bought into that too much? And maybe we're finding out that actually it's probably gone on too long already. Maybe the peak was to get the belt off Joe at Revolution in hindsight. Maybe they didn't have a few more months juice in it. I'm willing to change my mind, JP. You know, it's not like it's a disaster. Please don't, box me into that corner. It's pretty good, but it's nowhere near the level I feel like it should be for the world title program right now. Really feels like it needs heating up.
I think it does. I think the positioning of this, that this wasn't like, you know, obviously there was a backstage promo at the beginning, but really the kind of meat and substance of this was in that death quarter just before the main event. And I think the problem is it feels like they've been massively overshined. And in some ways I wanted a Swerve Strickland promo. He's angry. All these people are coming in and they're stealing my heat. No, this is my house. And he's almost like he should just be outright bringing up the card. Yeah, addressing it. I'm Ospreay. Don't think that you're just going to come in here, say bruv, and then take all my fucking heat. And Okada do the same thing there. Basically say, no, this is my time. Like, you want him to be kind of almost like pushing back against this, because that's where that character is. And you also want him to have that level of like, hang on a minute, I'm been overlooked for large swathes of my career. That's not going to happen again. I'm this close to it. I'm not going to be overshadowed. And I think that's the problem when you put it in this type of a slot and it becomes, like you say, it's Takeshita, who we haven't spoken about being involved in the world title picture at all. And all of a sudden he's got the match with him. Now, next
Callis
week,
coming out, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, it sets up what you need that match A to deliver. You'd be opening up with that match.
That's a great match.
Yeah, and it should be like a great match. It'd be the thing I'd go to straight away. And then I'd have that fiery kind of promo. Don't have Joe interfere. Don't have Joe come out and respond to it. Just give Swerve the proper mic time. Give him that kind of like proper mic time in the ring where he's just talking to the audience and effectively winning them round again. I don't think it's like, it's not the kind of thing where it's set in stone that it's not going to work. It's going to be main eventing Dynasty, isn't it? That's the thing. Like, I mean, they've already said that Danielson had said that, isn't it? That him and Ospreay aren't main eventing it, which is fine. It's going to be that killer match in the middle of the show. Yeah. And
that might hurt them more if they can't follow it. Middle-aged Joe. As much as I love him.
Depends. If you've got other stuff afterwards, you put that on like match 4, Danielson Ospreay, and you have that as that killer match. Have a couple of other fluffy matches. Obviously, you know, they'll have the women's match afterwards. That'll be the one that dies a death. Why? Because that's always how they position it. They always do that.
Yeah.
And they always make that mistake.
Definitely should, empathize again. It feels a little bit like it's just it felt like 1 week too many. Now it's like, all right, okay, Swerve, you need to be the main character again. I'm not even sure it's a lack of time. Maybe placement's a fair point, but he's getting the time. He needs to grab it back. He needs to grab it again, and I think he will. I think he's good enough too. But it needs to happen probably next week now. We've had our little honeymoon period now of all these fresh toys. He needs to remind us that he's the guy, and this is the most important thing going on in AEW over the next couple of weeks. I think they need to get back round to that. It's just, in danger of tipping over that point a little bit. But yeah, again, you're talking to people involved. You know, they're so fucking great. It wouldn't shock me if in 2 weeks we're like, oh fuck, can't wait for the pay-per-view now, Swerve and Joe in a death match or whatever it ends up being. Maybe we'll get there. Do you feel as well? Little side points to that. It is. Maybe the other thing is, I wonder if this was even their plan A. I imagine Hangman was supposed to be involved in whatever's going on right now. Maybe they're biding the time for that. Maybe that's what we're all reading. That it is a little bit on the back burner because they want to put it front of house once Hangman's good to go again.